David Lynch may be the dreamer's filmmaker, the artist who blends many mediums to reshape the cinematic form. But his elements of style, his dream logic, serve a waking reality that is all too recognisable as the nightmare that lies behind the veneer of good manners, social complicity, and the suburban ideal. Lynch draws the audience into facing the questions of why they suddenly feel uneasy going about daily life, what has happened to them to make them feel this way, and by talking to us in the language of dreams, succeeds in waking us from profound torpor. The term Lynchian is often used, and misappropriated, to describe films and television series that use the surreal to contrast with the mundane and create a sense of unease, a dreamlike menace. In this episode of Elements of Style, we'll explore just how Lynch achieves his idiosyncratic effect, and how he pushes against established cinema language to reform it into an effect of the subconscious awakening. We hope you enjoy this video and introduction to the films of David Lynch. If you do, please consider contributing to the discussion in the comments section below, liking the video by clicking the thumbs up icon, or subscribe to this channel to help support us. Thank you for watching. It is the ominous sound design that is perhaps the greatest signifier of the Lynchian world, and the leading element of his style that displaces the audience. Films such as Lynch's feature film debut, 1977's Eraserhead, best exemplify the power of sound to instill feelings of dread. The effect is disruptive. Rumbling drones embed their frequencies into the rear of the brain. The hiss and fury of distant trains, the grind and shift of machinery create industrial soundscapes that are familiar to us, and yet at a remove. Lynch's sound design is a distortion of the white noise that helps us sleep, instead keeping us locked inside a nightmare. Eraserhead, among many things, may be about the unspoken fear of parenthood, and the auditory disturbance prevalent throughout may be relatable to many parents, which Eraserhead lays bare as an uncomfortable truth. Many look for meaning in Lynch's work, but in the wrong way. The point is not to identify the beats of a story, but to examine how the work relates to your most intimate self. The use of a leading intense colour as determinant tells us this. Twin Peaks' Red Room points to the hellish infrastructure of our inner selves. We all have a black lodge inside of us. The blue in Blue Velvet is luxurious and seductive, but hides the dark horror of suburban living. The black of Mulholland Drive's seemingly endless night is a noirish coloration of Betty's shattered dreams and her lost illusions. What elevates Lynch's work above typical horror or other kinds of sensory experimental filmmaking is his ability to frame seemingly random unlinked events within a familiar narrative. It is the conventions of formula that prove deceptive, such as the soap opera feel of TV's Twin Peaks, or the pulp murder mystery of 1986's Blue Velvet, presenting a scenario with all the intrigues of sex, crime, conspiracy and drama, only to give way to something more sinister that had hitherto been concealed. Lynch does this by often leading on quite straightforward setups. A simple wide two-shot, cutting from medium to medium close-ups of the actors, allowing the scene to commence innocuously. But something is not quite right. Interactions seem almost too wholesome, too friendly. The abstract dialogue puts us on our guard, and often without us fully acknowledging it. A shift comes. Lynch changes perspective, sometimes from a direct POV shot, or using a jib or crane to go overhead, to take us from observer to voyeur. We shouldn't be hearing this. We shouldn't be hearing our subconscious talking to us. Dolly tracking shots create a drifting movement that pulls us further into somnambulance, lulling us into the dream world. The lighting strobes. Strange objects whisper to us. Familiar figures become nightmarish distortions. Close-ups become too intense, too intimate. And as in Lynch's last feature film to date, 2007's Inland Empire, the face ceases to exist and is replaced by our glaring, ugly natures through lurching temporal shifts. Time is not linear in the films of David Lynch. It may seem like the story starts at the point where it's expected to, but the progression of the narrative frame suggests there is no specific beginning, and no finality in the conclusion. Like Agent Dale Cooper and doomed prom queen Laura Palmer at the end of Twin Peaks: The Return, Lynch's works catch stories in a loop and draw the audience in with them. We are temporal cycles, fated to repeat our mistakes and enslave ourselves to our basest whims. 1999's The Straight Story offers us hope that the cycle can be broken and a place of rest can be found. Inland Empire gives us the alternative, that change can ultimately be destructive, and it is that very fight within ourselves that makes the Lynchian style so terrifying and so genuinely horrific.